One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because American people are watching. And to say that from an administration who has consistently condemned political violence, from an administration where the president called the former president and was thankful, grateful that he was okay, from an administration who has called out January 6th, called out the attack of Paul Pelosi, called out and said we need to lower the temperature after the Butler incident, and now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is... that is also incredibly dangerous. When
he's still being taught, especially by the media, that the more offensive he is, the more he can dominate the media space entirely. And I feel like you've been a good diagnoser of that, not only from when you were up against him, but from what others have done. So do you have an antidote for that, or a way that people can talk themselves out of taking that bait?
It's a good thing she used the word antidote, because she is a witch. I mean, you know it's bad with the Democrats if they're dusting off the Hillbot and bringing her out there to basically rally the team. I personally think what we've seen over the last 24 to 48 hours, we are seeing, in my estimation, the death of the Democrat Party. I think they know their time is short. I think they realize they completely pushed way beyond our limits. I think they know that at this point, Americans have had it up to here, and they've got nothing except, to constantly say Donald Trump is dangerous. Understand, these videos I'm going to show you here in the opening all took place after this last second attempt. You would think after he just had another assassination attempt thwarted that they would back off. But somebody has given the word. And it is obvious. I don't know if you watched anything today in news. I watch it so you don't have to. But they didn't back down whatsoever. And in fact, they ramped it up. So in my estimation, as you see on the headline, I firmly believe at this point, they want Trump dead. Barry, how could you say something so egregious? Listen to them. Listen to what they're what they're saying to each other, what they're broadcasting on their air. This happened after the attempt on his life again. They don't want to back down. They don't want to do anything that seems sympathetic to a man, a grandfather, a husband. They don't feel sympathetic at all. They realize they have a vegetable in the White House and an absolute kook as vice president, and a kookier vice presidential candidate in Tim Walz. And so, with that, now they're going to trot out the biggest hater possible. She still hasn't gotten over 2016. This woman needs to get some serious psychological help. And Rachel, you may have to as well.
I think that's really a critical question, and I think there's a couple of things going on here. You mentioned the press, and sadly, the press is still not able to cover Trump the way that they should. They careen from one outrage to the next. What was outrageous 3 days ago is no longer on the front pages, even though it threatens the physical safety of so many people, particularly, as you point out.
Even though he threatens the physical safety of so many people. It's like you just saw the programming and said, we got to do this. We have to get people out there. They need to understand this man's crazy. We need them to do our bidding. You just said it again. And I'm telling you, you're going to keep hearing that over the next couple minutes with these segments. And you can make up your own mind as to what my headline says there.
Out immigrants that he and Vance have.
Oh, wait, I got to stop there. You're also going to hear that word over and over. They are not immigrants. My dad was an immigrant. My dad and his brothers came from Jamaica. His mother, my grandmother, came from Jamaica. They did it the right way. That's what an immigrant is. These people are being airdropped into towns across the country, and you're not even telling the local governments. That is not an immigrant. That is an insertion. And it's another I word as well. People are not assimilating. I don't care if you believe the dog and cats thing or not. You cannot deny that these people are not assimilating into these communities.
Decided to demonize. And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous.
Here we go again. Don't tell me this isn't on purpose.
Trump is. The late, great journalist, Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery.
His demagoguery. This guy almost had his life taken again. They're not even taking a breath going, wait a second, okay, let's give it a couple days before we attack again. We don't have time. We don't have time to do this. We only have a couple weeks. So we have to make sure everybody stays revved up and ready to go because he's a demagogue. He's dangerous. He's a threat. All the words every single one of these stations were using all day long. Not one insert, not, maybe on a different show. every single show everywhere on the left was calling this man a danger, a threat to democracy.
His danger to our country.
That is not by accident. You know, Hillary may be many things, but I consider her intelligent. She's not like cuckoo, Kamala. So she knows very well the words she's saying, the basically the linguistics that she's putting out, the programming that she's putting out. Notice I don't think she's looking at a teleprompter. This is the hate from inside. It's OG. She's got it. She doesn't need notes. She doesn't need a teleprompter. I hate this guy. I hate everything he stands for, and I want him dead. That's what I'm reading into this. Look at her eyes. She's not reading. This is pure, just overwhelming hatred
In the world, and stick with it. They were merciless about what they saw as President Biden's, problems in the debate and calling for him to withdraw. I believe Donald Trump has disqualified himself over and over and over again to be a presidential candidate, let alone a president. The second thing, though, is that part of what Trump is counting on is for people to get desensitized. I mean, oh my gosh, did you hear what he said yesterday? Did you hear who he attacked? Did you hear the viciousness? And it just like with a shrug, okay, fine, we're moving on. Well,
are you hearing this stuff? Viciousness, attack. This woman is shrewd. She's a very polished, hateful politician. And she's putting these words out there, trying to basically do the MK Ultra thing on people and get people to be riled up, be afraid, be very afraid. And to some extent, it's working.
Americans need to understand that they have to take Trump both seriously and literally. He has said what he wants to do. He and his allies with Project 2025.
How many times? How many times are they going to keep saying Project 2025? They are going to keep saying it because in their mind, they have to put and associate Trump with some, radical ideology. So they can't talk about Agenda 47. They must talk about Project 2025. They don't care. Now, I just want you to remember, as she's talking, just put something in the back of your mind and go, she mentioned Project 2025 that you know is not true. In other words, that's misinformation, right? It's not true. Just keep that in your mind as you hear like the next 30 seconds.
His desire to be a dictator, at least.
His desire to be a dictator.
At least on day one, all of that is in the public record. And I believe
the public record would also show that he's disavowed Project 2025. Do you not realize this, you hillbot? You hilldebeest? Don't you understand? He's disavowed. He's distanced himself from him. It's been, as you guys say, debunked.
That more Americans have to be, willing to endure what frankly is discomforting and to some extent kind of painful, to take him at his word and to be outraged by what he represents. And then finally, the hopeful side of this is that I do think more and more Americans are, rejecting the kind of chaos that he represents. We can't go back. That's what the Harris campaign says all the time. We're not going back. We're not going back to, what he failed to do to protect American lives during COVID. We're not going back to the, romance with dictators that puts, innocent lives at risk and America's security in danger. We
danger.
Can't go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world.
All right. Now, if you remember, I just said, remember Project 2025. Remember she lied about that. What she's about to say should actually piss you off. I won't say fear. It should piss you off. Because what she's about to say, if you haven't heard it, This isn't just about Trump. Trump has said it many, many times. They're after me. Not really. They're after you. I'm just in the way. Well, listen to what Hillbot has to say about that.
Trump back in 2016, but I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged.
You, me, people like us who support Trump should be civilly or maybe even criminally charged.
Is something that would be a better deterrence because...
Do you have full confidence in the Secret Service?
It would be a better deterrent. Throwing your ass in jail or suing the pants off of you would be better than allowing you to continue to support Donald Trump. This is what they put out on a national news network. They dusted her off, brought her out the closet, threw a moo-moo on her and said, go ahead, say what you need to say. Go after Trump. Say how he's dangerous and dangerous and dangerous and more dangerous. Oh my God, he's dangerous. Now, let's continue with the current presidential candidate, if you can even understand what she's got to utter here.
To protect all of you?
I do.
You feel safe for you and your family?
I do. But, I mean, you can go back to Ohio.
Wait a second. Wait, okay. Understand, so she's sitting at a softball interview with the National Association of Black Journalists, who basically treated her not with just kid gloves, but like with a bubble. Let's not harm Kamala. But even being treated like Bubble Girl, she's still screwed up. This guy's talking to her about Secret Service. Do you feel protected? Do you feel safe? Yeah, I feel safe. And what does she do? She pivots to Springfield, Ohio.
Not everybody has Secret Service. And there are far too many people in our country right now who are not feeling safe. I mean,
that's because they shouldn't friggin' be here. She just kind of jumped over that. There's way too many people in this country who aren't feeling safe.
Look at Project 2025.
Oh, God, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of them telling us we are disinformation agents when all they do is spew misinformation. That's it. They've got nothing. That's why I keep saying this is a landslide, because you would have to be a functioning idiot not to see you are being programmed. All they can do is lie.
And I look at, like the Don't Say Gay laws coming out of Florida. Members.
Now she's going way back. Like, let me go back into some of these, things that just aren't true from years ago, not just from a few months ago. Yeah, the Don't Say Gay laws in Florida. I live here, lady. You're full of it. You're 100% full of it. But the morons that you're talking to won't even push back. Can you imagine sitting with an actual reporter these days? And when you say Project 2025, oh, wait a second. Trump's already said he's not a part of that. Oh, okay. Well, the Don't Say Gay laws. No, that's not true either. Oh, okay. On to the next lie.
The LGBTQ community don't feel safe right now.
The LGBTQ community doesn't feel safe right now. I live in South Florida. I am an arm's stone throw away from large, thriving gay communities. And I mean thriving. The gay community in South Florida is everywhere. I mean everywhere. But the transformer community, that's a whole lot different. Even most of the gays aren't about that. But the gays don't feel safe? Are you kidding me? You know how many gays I know down here are packing themselves? No. In fact, if you go to Wilton Manors, which is part of South Florida here, right outside of Fort Lauderdale, you would be feel like the minority there. Go to parts of South Beach. Go to other parts of Fort Lauderdale. No, they don't not feel safe. They're completely safe. She's such a liar.
Immigrants or people with an immigrant background don't feel safe right now. Women.
these people just let her lie. Immigrants, they don't feel safe right now. Which ones are you talking about? Because I just had an immigrant at my house, and my wife was talking to them. They do the lawn and landscaping, and they had a great time talking and working out there, and my wife had them directing traffic and, hey, take this and do this, and they were happy and giving them water and iced tea. But what immigrants don't feel safe? Who? I could go into many towns. I can go to Pompano. I can go to Fort Lauderdale. I can go all over the place. I see immigrants everywhere. Who doesn't feel safe?
Don't feel safe right now. And so, yes, I feel safe. I have Secret Service protection. But that doesn't change my perspective on the importance of fighting for the safety of everybody in our country.
And when you look...
You want to fight for the safety of everybody in this country. I've said this many times. I posted it on X today. Show me any time, anywhere, where someone on the left, someone who's a politician on the left, have said anything critical about a newcomer. Anything. Go find it. We've seen them beat up cops in New York. We've seen them kill and do this and everything else. Not one Democrat ever criticizes the newcomers. Just doesn't happen. But you and me, we're cults. We're in a cultish part of things right now. We need some reprogramming, some re-education. They have no problem at all criticizing and putting out negative stuff about Trump supporters. But not one of them, not any channel, will ever talk negatively or criticize what a newcomer does. And now, after you've seen Hillbot, and now they're bringing out the next clown in the circus.
Look at the fact that he is now admitting they made up a story, as you say, quoting him, that the media wouldn't cover. Maybe the media didn't cover it because there was no story.
He's telling the audience that the whole thing about cats and dogs is made up. There is no story. Really? Well, I know Vivek Ramaswamy is going to do a town hall in Springfield. None of these people, just so you know, not a single one, not Al Sharpton, definitely not Rachel Maddow, none of them have gone to Springfield and talked to the actual people. They'll get on television and go, hey, it ain't happening. People are fine there. They loved it. They love the newcomers. It's fantastic. They don't even want to take the time to go visit the town that they've basically caused an invasion with. Don't even want to talk about it. Don't want to talk to those residents. Screw them. It's not important. I remember when people were talking about the Great Replacement theory as being a conspiracy theory. Oh, we're long past that. We're long past that being a conspiracy. It's actually their plan. Actually, it's not even a plan. They're doing it. They're executing it. They're flying people in under cover of darkness and dropping them in communities. I read today that a small community in Alabama of 4,000 people, a rural community of 4,000 people in Alabama, woke up this morning and found 2,000 Haitians dumped into their neighborhood. 50% of the town's population changed like that. And the mayor's like, we don't have any resources for this. What do you want me to do? It's criminal that they're just dropping these people into towns and go, hey, have at it, love you, bye. And expecting the locals to find a way to deal with it before these people get angry because they're hungry. They don't even tell the local officials. They just drop them in there. Hey, have a good time. And of course, this moron comes out.
Didn't exist. But again, this is consistent with Trump's campaign. Let's not forget Donald Trump as president called Haiti and several African countries S-hole countries. You also have to put into the factor in that.
Wait. Al? Yes. What would you call Haiti? I mean, if S-hole is not the right word, what exactly would you say Haiti is? I'm waiting. What do you think some of these third world countries are? Yes, it's a pejorative. Yes, it may be a little strong. But is it wrong? I don't want to live there. Nobody I know wants to live there. They don't even want to live there. If the people in the country are willing to get on an airplane, be shipped to somewhere in South Alabama with no money, no food, nothing, just say, here at, I'm still better than I was in Haiti. They got ducks here. They got pigeons. I'm going to have a veritable buffet here. Oh man, as long as I can catch it, I'm going to eat, right? In Haiti, I can't do that. I'm eating dirt cookies. So if it's not an S-hole country, what exactly would you call it?
If you are someone that is anti-Haitians in Springfield or coming in to think you're defending the people of Springfield whose pets are being eaten up.
Okay, right there, that's a perfect example of what they do. They try to do that all the time, call you anti-whatever. You're not even allowed to have an opinion. You're anti. Like I said, I've known many Haitians. I've employed many Haitians. I've seen Haitians that work in, housekeeping, and I've seen Haitians who are executives. I don't know anybody who's anti-Haitian. You jumped the shark there. What people are is anti-illegal newcomers. Big difference, Al.
Any black walking around Springfield looks Haitian. I mean, it is racist. Mm-hmm. It is a clear threat to people.
Threat. Okay, so if you're not open to having, thousands of people dumped into your town, you're just being racist. That's your problem. You don't get it. This is the new America at this point. You better accept it. You don't have a choice. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you straight up, you no longer have a choice. Accept it, that this is the way it's going to be, or you're a racist and you probably need to go to some deprogramming or re-education camps.
And just like I denounce whoever's trying to assassinate Donald Trump for whatever reasons, they should denounce...
Whoa. Whatever reasons? Okay, just wanted you to hear that, for whatever reason.
The fact that they are inciting nuts to feel that they can go into Springfield and save pets. That's those kinds of jaded thinking is what leads to killings. I did the funerals in Buffalo, New York, of a mass killer that felt he had the right to target blacks. I've been to others.
Now we're talking about serial killers or people who go off. Those are Americans who may have done some really bad things, but they're Americans. You just compared very easy, very fluidly, illegal newcomers with people who have a right to be here. It's the same thing in their eyes. Don't you get it? They are you at this point. They have every single right and more than you do.
And did eulogies. This is dangerous. This is
dangerous. As they cut to a picture of Donald Trump. That's not by accident. This is dangerous. And he shows up.
A threat to people and
he's a threat while his picture is being shown.
Same time we denounce what apparently has happened as a threat to Donald Trump.
Apparently. Hey, we're not really sure. It was, who knows what it was. This guy had a, AK-47 in the bushes. He might have just been out there having a lunch break. It's just apparent that it was an assassination attempt.
We should denounce what is apparently a threat to blacks and particularly Haitians in Springfield.
It's a crime.
Wait. It's a threat to blacks. How did you get there? Just because Haitians have dark skin, you think this is a threat against blacks? As far as I know, as of yet, it is only 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I don't think people have rounded up the posses yet. I don't think people have said, you know what, we need to get the posse together and round them up. It hasn't happened yet. All right, so it's 7 o'clock. I'm looking on stage. He is not right now. We're listening to Sarah, or not listening, but Sarah Huckabee Sanders is on the stage. She's talking. I'll come back afterwards. I got one more segment here I need to show you. And before that, I'm telling you guys, it's getting absolutely crazy out there. If you have not prepared, if you've not gotten yourself ready for what is coming, you can see it. They keep talking about danger, 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 threat, threat, threat. You need to be prepping, and you need to be looking at doing something. We talked about crypto yesterday. I'm going to tell you about some gold. Listen to what I have to say here about Lear Capital. You know that inflation is still on the rise all across America, and our dollar is being devalued more and more every single day by the Federal Reserve and their massive money printing schemes. So you have to ask yourself, are my investments really safe? I doubt it. Listen to this. Government debt is growing at the rate of $1 trillion every 100 days. Since 2020, every dollar in your wallet has lost 24% of its purchasing power. And in just the last 18 months, what you need to survive as a family, your groceries, your necessities, have gone up by $11,000 per family. These are unsustainable and outrageous numbers. That's why I'm recommending that you call my friends at Lear Capital. They'll show you how easy it is to move some of your assets into gold and silver. You know, assets that are growing in value instead of keeping them in a dollar, which is declining in value. And as we approach the election, and with all the volatility in the world, now is the time to take some action. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. When you go to Lear, you'll be able to download a de-dollarization guide. It will show you specifically how your dollar is deflating every single year. There's no obligation, it's just free information. You'll learn how to protect your hard-earned money with gold and silver. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Call Lear at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you give them a call, ask how you can get $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. Got to kill that. The big man's getting ready to come on stage. They're playing the theme song, which means I have to cut, as always, but I cut it in time, so it would just sound like just a big noise there. So that's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's going to be moderating this town hall. I always liked Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She was awesome. So I hope this town hall, unlike the last one, I don't think he answered enough questions. Let's get right to the questions. Yes, God bless and protect President Trump. Hopefully we don't have to defend ourselves, but plan on it. Plan on it. Okay. They're still playing the music, as you can see. Whoa, you can actually see that. Remember Al Sharpton in the Tawana Brawley hoax? Yeah, if you guys are too young to remember that, he did some stuff where he claimed this woman was abused by a bunch of guys, and it was all fake, all fake. Oh, there's somebody from Arkansas. We love her in Arkansas. She's a great governor. Yeah, I think she could be the first woman president. So they're still facing over there. The music is playing. Let me just check real quick. Just a quick button here. Yep, still playing music. Okay. Sharpton is a wolf. How does Sharpton even still walk the street? I mean, the guy, I think it was like $5 million in taxes he didn't pay. Nothing happened to him. Nothing. Shakes down all kinds of companies, has his nonprofit, does what he wants to. Al Sharpton is going to have to decide between black Americans and black immigrants or newcomers, and he better make the right choice for the sake of the small reputation at this point. So Trump, as you can see, is on the stage. As soon as he grabs the mic, I'll hit the volume.
Very much. Thank you.
All right, right, everybody. I need some comments. Let me know if the sound is good enough. When I hit the sound button, let me know.
Oh, thank you very much. That's a lot of people for a town hall. Nobody's ever seen a town hall like this. You know, a town hall is supposed to have about 300 people. You have about 8,000 people here. And equally as important, you have about 8,000 people that are not here. They're walking away. But I think we have television outside, right? So they're watching from outside. Would anybody like to change places with them? I thought you were going to say that. Thank you, everybody. Hello, Sarah.
Mr. President, nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Well, it's been a great experience. It's a dangerous business, however, being president. It's a little bit dangerous. It's, they think race car driving is dangerous. No. They think bull riding.
All right, some people said it's too loud, so I just lowered it. Let me know if it's too low.
Business, so we have to keep it safe.
Mr. President, I don't think there's a person, certainly in this room tonight, and probably anywhere in the country, that doesn't remember exactly where they were on July 13th, that Saturday, when a horrific thing happened, an attack not just on you, but what I see as an attack on our entire country. They have I joined with everyone in we know that you were tough. We saw it every day on the campaign. We saw it when you were president. But I don't think anybody was prepared for what we saw that day. And now it's happened not once, but twice. You've literally taken a bullet for our country, and yet you keep fighting. You never give up. The reason that you're going to win in November is because America needs a fighter. And we've never needed a fighter more, and we've never had somebody more qualified to step in and lead our country than you. I'd love for you to tell us, why do you want to be president, and why do you continue fighting even after they keep attacking you every single day?
So we ran, thank you, everybody. A lot of love in this room. I love you, you love me, and you love Sarah. A lot. So we ran in 2016, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and we won. We then ran in 2020, and we did much better than 2016. People don't like to hear it, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, We got millions and millions more votes. We did much better. It wasn't even a contest. I was telling one of the papers, they said, what was the difference? I said, well, the difference is we did much, much better the second time. But we had a lot of things happen. We know what those things are. So what difference? Because now in like 48 days or whatever it might be, we're going to do something that will be, I don't think it's going to shock the world, actually. I think the world is going to be maybe prepared already. In Europe, they want it to happen. Even though they would not prefer dealing with me in terms of the economics, they still want it to happen because the whole world is blowing up, and they know it's not going to blow up if I'm president here. But, so we did great. And honestly, if I didn't do great, if we know what happened, and if that didn't happen, if I didn't do well in 2020, I wouldn't even think about doing this. But we did phenomenally well, and bad things happened, and we're not going to let it happen again. And now, I'll tell you, So 2016, a lot of spirit. 2020, we had unbelievable spirit. And then we got let down because what happened should never be allowed to happen in this country again. But I have never seen the spirit like I've seen right now for this race. Never, ever. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. It blows it away from 2016, from 2020. And basically, it's very simple. You're saying what? We're going to seal the border immediately. We're going to drill, baby, drill. You know, we're going to drill at a level. We're going to bring your energy prices down. We're going to try and get rid of a lot of that big lump of inflation that this administration has given us. And I have to say that President Biden called me yesterday. It was very nice. We had a very nice conversation. I appreciated that he called about, you know, what happened the other day. And he says, he's committed. He's committed. No, and today, a little while ago, I got a very nice call from Kamala. No, it was very nice. It was very nice. It was very, very nice, and we appreciate that. But we have to take back our country. We have to win. We're going to win, and we're going to make America great again. That's all there is to it. Very simple, right?
I think it's safe to say that this crowd will all be voting for you.
You know, when I think of this state, it's so sad. Years ago, I was given, thank you very much, but years ago I was given an award as like Man of the Year or something from an area that nobody knew, and the press said, oh, it never happened. Well, then it did happen. They found out where it was, but it was like 15 years ago. A beautiful area, but nobody remembered it. Nobody remembered it all. All of a sudden, like through a miracle, they found out it did exist, and it was there. And I had the speech, and the speech was, don't let them take your automobile industry away. They're taking your automobile industry away, and I don't know why you're doing it. Now, I wasn't a politician. I was an entrepreneur. I was a real estate developer, doing great, having a lot of fun, doing a much simpler life than this. Who would think that a developer's life is simple, but it's a lot simpler than this. But I said, don't let them do that, because here I am in Michigan, and I was getting an award, and I'm making a speech. I'm saying, what am I going to say? But I just watched Common Sense. I saw them leaving for Mexico, leaving for China. Do you know that right now, and they weren't building them with me, they weren't building anything in Mexico having to do with cars with me, because I said, if you build it, we're going to put 200%, you're not going to sell one car into this country. But right now, they're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world ever built. I have a friend that does that for a living, very good at it. He's the best, I think. And he's actually a contributor, a supporter, but he builds the plants. And I say, you know, I'd like to go see a plant, a really great auto plant. You know, it's amazing technology, amazing what they do, really incredible, the amount of automobiles they can produce and the size of these things. I'd like to see a real modern plant. And he's the one that does them. And I said, so where would we go? I was hoping he'd say Detroit or someplace up here. But anywhere in this country, I'll take anywhere in this country, right? So will you, my greatest guy right over here. Stand up, will you, please? He's such a great guy. Oh, hi, everybody. We're going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back. We're not just going to keep, you know, you're losing your jobs, the whole thing, but just, so they're building. So I said, where would I go? And let's go take a look at a beauty. He said, well, we'll have to go to Mexico. I said, wait a minute, I'm not interested. No, I want to know here. He said, here we don't build top of the line. We build smaller plants. We build, there's just not that kind of a thing. And I said, isn't it sad? He feels that too. You know, he's a United States guy. But he said, if you want to see the big ones, you're going to have to go to Mexico. They're owned and built by China in Mexico. And there are a number of them going up right now. And they think they're going to make their cars there, and they're going to sell them across our line, and we're going to take them, and we're not going to charge them tax. We're going to charge them, I'm telling you right now, I'm putting a 200% tariff on, which means they're unsellable. Unsellable in the United States. And then you wonder why it gets shot at, right? You know, only consequential presidents get shot at. When I say something like that, you have countries saying this guy, but what can you do? You have to do what you have to do, right? We have to be brave, otherwise we're not going to have a country left. So what's happening is they're building these massive auto plants, and they think they're going to make tens of thousands of automobiles and sell them in here. No tax, no nothing. It's not going to happen. When you put on tariffs are the greatest thing ever invented. You know, I took in $467 billion from China. Nobody else took in anything, and China's economy is not even doing that well. And Biden, you know, they have not been able, and Kamala, they have not been able to take those tariffs off because there's so much money. And frankly, if they did take them off, this country would be flooded with Chinese cars. You don't have the Chinese cars. We put a pretty good tariff on. It was going to be lifted at some point. Then we had COVID. We did a tremendous job in COVID. We gave you a stock market that was higher than just prior to COVID coming in. And we did a great job. We never got credit. We got credit for the best economy maybe ever. We got credit for having defeated ISIS and having rebuilt our military. We shouldn't have given, Sarah, $85 billion worth of equipment to the Taliban, to Afghanistan. In I think the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. That whole thing was the most. When we were leaving with me. I was the one that got it down to the right number. We were going to keep the big air base, which is exactly 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Think of that, 1 hour away. And we gave it up. We just gave it up. One of the biggest, one of the most, we spent billions and billions of dollars many years ago. The runways can hold more weight than any runway ever built. Think of that. They're, I think, 19,000 feet long, which is, 3 times what a normal runway would be. It's called Bagram. And we were going to keep that because of China, not because of Afghanistan, 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear weapons. So that was a good one. We left, and the way we got out was so embarrassing. And because of that, first of all, 13 dead soldiers. I've gotten to know their families. They're incredible families, but they'll never be the same. Many badly injured, Nobody ever talks about the soldiers that are badly injured. They talk about 13 dead, and we always have to say that, number one, and great families. But nobody ever mentions the fact that some of the soldiers were hurt so badly, the arms, the legs, the face, like obliteration. We left American citizens behind, and they're not too happy, I can imagine. But if they're living. And we also gave them $85 billion worth of the best military equipment, all beautiful, brand new, between the goggles and the planes and the armor-plated cars. We gave them armor-plated trucks and cars and vehicles and so much. And they're one of the largest sellers now today of military equipment in the world. They're selling this stuff. 777,000 rifles and guns. Think of that. How do you have that anyway? Who would put that? We have 71,000 trucks and cars, and again, many of them armor-plated. So what happened is when Russia looked at that, they said, we're going to invade, we're going to go into Ukraine. If that didn't happen, I don't think, and I guarantee you, if the election were a straight election, we won that election, we should have won that election, everybody knew we won the election, they would have never attacked. Putin never would have attacked, but the oil prices got driven up at $100 a barrel. He made money. He's the only guy who fought a war, and you make money fighting a war, but it got driven up because of their bad energy policies. But when he saw that, and you wouldn't have had, think of this, you wouldn't have had, how different would the world be? You wouldn't have had Ukraine being attacked by Russia. You wouldn't have had October 7th in Israel, where that horrible situation took place because Iran was essentially broke. They had very little money, and we would have made a great deal with them. All we want is we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. That's all we want. We don't want you to have a nuclear weapon. We would have made a good deal with Iran. They would have been happy, and I think they're going to end up being very unhappy, but it's very dangerous. They're very close to a nuclear weapon. And the other thing, you wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had inflation because inflation was driven up by their bad energy policy. And you remember your gasoline started going up to $5 and $6 a gallon. And then what happened is they said, oh, we're going to get killed. We have an election. We're going to get killed. And they went back to my policy. So they went back to the same. What they don't, and they say, we produce the same amount as Trump. Well, they went right back to my policy, or you would have had $25 a gallon gasoline. So they went back. What they don't say is, though, I would have been producing 4 times as much. And I took us from third into first place by a lot. But we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including Russia. And we would have been so dominant in energy. We would have, we didn't need any energy from anybody. We didn't have to protect any other countries in order to get their oil, which we've done for many years in the Middle East. We were energy independent. Sounds so beautiful to say it. We're energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant, and we would have been now having so much money coming out of the energy. We just have the best. We have Bagram in Alaska. They say it might be as big, might be bigger than all of Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this. Between Bagram, you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up. We should have that air base. We should have that oil. We would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest air base, military air base in the world, and they left it in the dark of night with the lights on, and they did leave the dogs behind. There are a lot of people, they say, what about the dogs? They left the dogs behind. But we would have been a much different country right now. But we're going to get it back, and I promise you we're going to get it back with guys like this and people like that. And Sarah, just one thing, because this is the world's longest answer to an otherwise simple question, but the difference is I give an answer that's productive as opposed to an answer that is not very productive, right? Like in the debate. But just to end this, we are going to, for Michigan, because we want to be a little bit Michigan-centric. You used to be the capital of the world in cars. Today, you're an afterthought in cars. And I don't know the head of your union. I've never met the gentleman, Sean. I've never met him. But what he's done to your union and what he's done by agreeing to allow this country to say we're going all electric, which at some point they're going to end up taking back that mandate because that mandate is insane. They want to go all electric basically by 2030. And for him, think of this, for him to do that, just real fast, you're right now at 25% of where you used to be and heading south because the electric cars are all going to be made in China and Mexico, but they're all going to be made basically in China. We are going to bring so many auto plants into our country. You're going to be as big or bigger than you were 50 years ago because they won't be able, if they're not willing to build a plant, we don't want their product. And that's enough. That's all I want to say. And it'll happen fast. It'll happen very fast.
I think it's safe to say that Michigan is happy that you're going to be president again. And Mr. President, we don't mind that you give long answers because you actually have something to say, because you actually got something done when you were president.
You know, it's a very interesting because she said, I don't think I've ever said this before. So we do these rallies, they're massive rallies. Everybody stays till the end, by the way. You know, when she said that, well, your rallies, people leave. Honestly, nobody does. And if I saw them leaving, I'd say, and ladies and gentlemen, make America great again, and I'd get the hell out, okay? Because I don't want people leaving. But I do have to say, so I give these long, sometimes very complex sentences and paragraphs, but they all come together. I do it a lot. I do it with Raising Cane, that story. I do it with the story on the catapults on the aircraft carriers. I do it with a lot of different stories. When I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter, I'm using that as an example of people that are coming in from Silence of the Lambs. I use it. They say, it's terrible. So they say, so I'll give this long, complex area. For instance, that I talked about a lot of different territory. The bottom line is, I said the most important thing. We're going to bring more plants into your state and this country to make automobiles. We're going to be bigger than before. But the fake news, there's a lot of them back there. You know, for a town hall, there's a lot of people. But the fake news likes to say, oh, he was rambling. No, that's not rambling. That's genius when you can connect the dots. You gotta. Now, Sarah, if you couldn't connect the dots, you got a problem. But every dot was connected and many stories were told in that little paragraph. But there is something, but they say that. The other thing I say is this. We had 107,000 people show up in New Jersey. We had 68,000 people show up in Alabama. We had 79 or 81,000 in South Carolina. And they'd never said, I'm a great speaker. And I said, am I a great speaker? They say, oh, no, he rambles. What the hell are all you people showing up for if I ramble? You don't want to show up for a rambler. So anyway, thank you very much.
Mr. President, no one has done more to fight for the American worker than you, to bring back jobs and manufacturing to this country. Tonight, there's obviously a lot of people that really care about the auto industry here. And tonight we have a question from one of the auto workers, Isaiah, here in the audience that would like to ask a question.
Good, sure. Where's Isaiah?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll build a brand new beast. We're going to build a beast right here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, for having us here tonight. I just want to let you know that I've attended one of your rallies. I did not leave early, and I did not fall asleep. Just want to let you know that, sir. I did not do it. I did not do it. I didn't see anybody else doing it either, sir. My name is Isaiah. I'm a third-generation UAW worker, working hard to build trucks here in America. Yes.
Get ready. You're going to be doing plenty of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I work for Ford, and you actually came and visited the plant that I work at. That's right. You did. And my question to you, sir, is what do you see as the major threats to the future of Michigan manufacturing auto working jobs, and what will you do to eliminate those threats, sir?
Okay, so I'll get into another little bit of a long answer, because when you say major threat, to me we have one really major threat. That's called nuclear weapons. We have other countries that are hostile to us. They don't have to be hostile to us. I always say if you have a smart president, you'll never have a problem with China, Russia, or any of them, okay? I got along great with Putin. I got along great with President Xi. I got along great with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Everybody said, oh, you can't get along with him. He liked me. I got along great with him, and he has a lot of nuclear force. But you essentially have 5 countries, and you're going to have more. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have more. It's the single biggest threat to the world, not only Michigan, to the world. And you're not going to care so much about making cars if that stuff starts happening. And we have people that are not good at negotiation. The war should have never happened. President Biden, I want to be nice. He was so nice to me yesterday, but, you know, in one way, I sort of wish the call wasn't made, because I do feel he's so nice. I'm so sorry about what happened and all that, but I have to lay it out. We have very important, and the same with Kamala today. She could not have been nicer. But the fact is, we have to have people that are respected by the opponent, by the other side, by other countries that have this. Even Pakistan has nuclear weapons. We have countries. India has a lot of nuclear force. We have countries that have tremendous nuclear power. And when I hear these people talking about global warming, that's the global warming you have to worry about. Not that the ocean's going to rise in 400 years, an eighth of an inch, and you'll have more seafront property, right, if that happens. I said, is that good or bad? I said, isn't that a good thing? If I have a little property on the ocean, I have a little bit more property. I have a little bit more ocean. But the fact is that it's a tremendous problem. And we are closer to World War III today than we've ever been. And the difference is, and I say this a lot, this isn't army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is obliteration. The power of these weapons, and I'm the one that revived it, and I hated to do it. But, you know, we had stuff that was 48 years old. They didn't even know if it worked. We have incredible stuff. So does Russia. China has much less, but they're going to catch up over 4 or 5 years. It's the single biggest threat by far to civilization. And nobody talks about it. They talk about global warming. Used to be, remember? Used to be global warming. You know, they changed the name. You know why? Because the planet's getting cooler now. So now what they call it is climate change, because that covers everything. See, climate change, if it gets hot, cooled, you know, these people, I don't know if they're for real, but if they're not, they're covered by the words climate change. If it gets cooler, that's good. If it gets hotter, that's good. Global warming wasn't working so well. But the single biggest threat, okay, now let's assume we have a really smart president, and that's not going to be a threat because we have a lot of power. Doing business with China is a good thing, but you have to have a fair deal. Doing business with Russia, they have so much in terms of minerals and things. The size of their land mass is like 4 times bigger than the United States. The minerals and things they have, we could do great business, and you keep everybody happy. You can solve that problem. But let's talk about the local problem. The local problem is that you have countries stealing your business. Mexico is a very big one. Mexico, this year we have a deficit with Mexico of $250 billion. Think of this. With Mexico, little Mexico, you think of it as a little innocent place. We're losing our ass to Mexico. China, you don't even have to talk about. We have over $1 trillion this year. I was charging them numbers that were unbelievable, and now he's just totally given up the ghost. And we're going to lose $1 trillion in deficits to China. $1 trillion. That's not sustainable. We're going to turn it all around, and we're going to do it through taxation and tariffs. It will be done in 24 hours, and it'll change the whole planet. Just so you know, Sarah, China became powerful because they charge. They don't call them tariffs. They call it a tax. They don't call it tariffs. The word tariff is a beautiful word to me, but to a lot of people that don't understand, it's not a beautiful word, because you have a lot of people that are paid off by these countries. They're taking care of these countries, and they don't care about destroying the United States. They want millions of dollars in fees and consultation, but we will, literally in a period of 24 hours, we can change the whole trading of the whole world. They've taken advantage of our country for years. I stopped it. I stopped so much of it. And then we had a focus on COVID, which a lot of people said was put in there for a reason. You know, it came out of the Wuhan lab, which I said right from the beginning, all of you know. It didn't come out of a cave. They said a cave. It didn't come from France. They blamed France. They blamed, I call it the China virus because I like to be accurate, you know. They call it the Spanish flu. They call it all different names when something comes from a country, except for China. We have to call it COVID. What the hell does COVID mean? The China virus. And a lot of people think they did that because they were not happy with me as president. I actually had a great relationship with President Xi, and in his own way, he probably liked me the most, but maybe or maybe not. I saw that Putin the other day endorsed Kamala. And you have to understand, these are major chess players. So when he endorses Kamala, he may say, well, I did that because I love you, and it's better to be doing it. So who knows? But he endorsed Kamala, which is a little unusual. I was watching, I said, that's interesting. I think that's a good thing, isn't it? It really is. But look, we have to turn it around, and we can. We're going to have a reciprocal trade tax. We're going to have so if China charges 152%, which they do in a car, if we sell a car made here into China, which you don't do because the tax is too high, they say to all your companies and to others, and to Elon Musk, who gave us, he is a great guy. He gave me the strongest endorsement. And he's a really wonderful guy. But they say to him, we don't want your car unless you build your plant in China. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. That's smart people say that. We haven't said it for many years. I said it. We have a lot of plants going up with Apple and other things. I said, you got to build plants. You don't build plants here, we're going to put the tariffs on your products coming in from China. So we can do it quickly, but we're going to have what's called the Reciprocal Trade Act. Now, I dealt with a senator, a very good senator, actually, but he knows nothing about trade. I said, here's what I want to do, Senator. I want to take the reciprocal trade. If they charge us 100%, we charge them 100%. He said, you mean they charge us, we charge them? You got me. How simple could it be? It was sort of cool, because he doesn't care. He's a senator, doesn't care about trade, but, you know. So we're going to call it the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, or I'll leave the name Trump off as long as we do it. So when India, which is a very big abuser, he happens to be coming to meet me next week, and Modi, he's fantastic. I mean, fantastic man. A lot of these leaders are fantastic. You have to understand one thing. They're 100%. These people are the sharpest people. They're not a little bit backward. They are at the top. You know the expression, they're at the top of their game, and they use it against us. But India is very tough. Brazil is very tough. There are certain countries, I can tell you every one. I can give you from top to bottom. China is the toughest of all, but we were taking care of China with the tariffs. So we're going to do a reciprocal trade. If anybody charges us 10 cents, if they charge us $2, if they charge us 100%, 250, we charge them the same thing. And you know what's going to happen? Everything's going to disappear, and we're going to end up having free trade again. And if it doesn't disappear, we're going to take in a lot of money. Okay? But you know, the biggest beneficiary, I believe, is going to be your state. And I won't say that to other states, I promise. About your state, you are going to have plants built at a level that you haven't seen in 50 years. Okay? Great question. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, one of the other things I think that you did that helped protect the American worker as much as anything else, and also make our country and our communities safer, was you actually did something about the border. Just this month, there was a woman in my home state of Arkansas who was killed by an illegal immigrant who was drunk driving, that was deported during your administration and came back under this administration because they have failed to protect our country. It's one of the great threats that we face that you actually did something about.
A lot.
Tell us what you will do on day one to help protect our country.
So we're going to be, day one, we're doing two things. Closing the border and baby drill. Two things. We're going to get down the prices. Thank you. Nice people. I like this crowd. I like this crowd. No, you know what? You're smart people. So, Sarah, thank you. So, over the last couple of years, I've been talking about the border. I got elected in 2016 because of the border. But that border was peanuts compared to what this border is. That border was like a safe border compared. And I did it. I did a great job. And it also includes drugs, came to, much lower. Look, unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers, you'll never get rid of the drug problem. Put that through your head, okay? Put that through your head. And I don't know if our country's ready for it. When I was with President Xi, and again, until COVID, I had a great relationship. Once that happened, I really didn't want a relationship because $60 trillion, millions of dead people all over the world. I was not exactly thrilled with him. But before that, I had a great relationship. And I said, do you have a drug problem? No, we have no drug problem. Oh, how come? Death penalty, immediate. I said, what does that mean, immediate? Immediate, we have what's called a quick trial. You know what a quick trial is? Like in one day, the trial is over. Over here, it'll be 25 years. They'll get some nice liberal lawyer and they'll have it tied up for 25 years. The guy dies of old age. So, but they have a death penalty. In Singapore, they have a death penalty. In a lot of countries, they have a death penalty. You sell drugs because the average drug dealer kills during his or her life 500 people. The average one. The big ones, much more. But when you hear that, when people start to hear that, and I set up blue ribbon committees, I put, nice people, dilettantes from New York and from Los Angeles, people that know nothing about drugs, and they're dealing with very smart people. These dealers are smart as hell, they're tough as hell, and they make a fortune. They make a fortune. And if you don't have the death penalty for drug dealers, you're just wasting your time. Now we can keep it down, and we can do better than we're doing now, and a lot better than we're doing now, because what's happening now is out of control. But we had the lowest human trafficking, mostly in women, I hate to say, mostly in women, but we had the lowest human trafficking in 32 years. You know my favorite chart, the chart I put down, when I look to the right, that'll be my all-time favorite chart in history. That was basically a chart showing what a good job I did on immigration. But even if it showed I did a bad job on immigration, it will be my all-time favorite chart, because I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't look over. Let me see that chart. That was not good. My all-time favorite chart, blue, yellow, red. It was beautiful. Oh, there it is. There it is. There, that was good. These guys are very good back. That's a good. The interesting thing, it's always on my left. It's at rallies. It's always on my list. I only do it about 15, maybe 20% of the time, so I don't do it much. And it's always at the end of a speech. But it's always here. For some reason, they dropped it here. It was at the beginning of the speech, the very beginning couple of sentences. And I turned like a deer bolting, I guess, right? They say good hunters say this. Every once in a while, a deer will bolt prior to the shot. And I don't know, I guess mine was a form of, but I turned around to look at it. It was right here, behind me, actually. And my head was at a perfect angle. It got me. But if you got to be hit, that's the best place. Although it's blood. The doctor, I said, how come so much blood? He said, the ear bleeds more than it. I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. But it was an amazing thing. And I have to say, because I have to, while we're on the subject, because people do like to talk about it. A few days ago, we had an incident. I have to say, Secret Service did a hell of a job. They really did. They caught one of the gentlemen one of the agents was walking a couple of holes in front, and he saw a rifle, AK-47. That's serious stuff, right? You know more about that. My sons know more about this stuff. But AK-47, that's a bad one. The other one was an AR-15. This was an AK-47, and he saw the barrel of the gun coming out from a bush. Can you believe it? This guy was all set. He was all set to do his number, and there was no talk. He didn't say, hello, what are you doing here, please? And he ends up getting shot himself. He took his gun, started shooting him, and this guy ran. No, great job. I don't know if where is he? Not here, right? These guys do a great job. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time, but he did a great job. But you want to know another sort of a miracle? So the guy is now running for his life, and he's got a car a block away or whatever. And a woman, this is a woman, not a man, a woman, see? Women are smarter than men. I hate to say. How does that sound? Our great First Lady is very happy now. Let me just tell you, think of this. Who would do this? I actually asked, I was with the sheriff this morning, I was with a couple of people from Secret Service, who would do this? So you now have a man running, not with the gun, he dropped the gun, we found the gun, but he was gone. And a woman driving in a car saw a man on the street, pretty busy street, running, and she followed him. And he got into the car, and she stopped because she thought he was trouble. He looked different. He like trouble. She followed him, it wasn't very far, and parked the car behind his car and started taking pictures of his license plate. Now think of it. And Sarah, think of it. No, seriously, who would do that?
The women.
Not from good or bad, not from, strength or heroism. No, just, you see somebody running. I see people running all the time. And she saw something in this guy that was bad. She may have heard maybe gunshots, because there were four gunshots. Actually, the shots, he never got off a shot. The shots were from Secret Service. But think of it, who would do this? If you took 1,000 of these incidents, would even one person have done it? This woman was, I haven't met her, but I'd like to meet her. I'm going to meet her, I hope. But think of this. She goes in, she takes pictures of the plate, and then she sends the pictures into the sheriff's office. And the sheriffs are saying, wow, this is pretty amazing. And they were able to get this guy within 10 minutes. They had a high-speed chase on the highway. They got him. Otherwise, we'd probably have an AK-47. They had the camera. He had the whole thing. He was a sophisticated guy. He even had the serial number taken off the rifle, the gun. But think of this. So we'd have all the stuff. But I'd be walking around saying, I wonder where this guy is. Is he in this audience? We would have a maniac out there. This woman was unbelievable. Because I actually asked the sheriff, if it happened 1,000 times, would anybody have done that? He said, maybe, but not much, not much. So she did she was really amazing job.
We're glad she did. I think there are a couple takeaways there. One, the women of this country love Donald Trump and are going to make sure we do our part. And I think one of the other things that we all know in this room certainly is that God is not finished with you, and He has big plans.
Sarah, I just want to say one thing. So when I heard about this tonight, I said, so where am I speaking? Michigan, good. I like Michigan. I want to talk about cars. I love talking about the cars because it's so simple. It's so ridiculous that this is happening. You don't want the electric. You do want electric cars, 7%, 8%. Elon makes a great product. But you know what? And I've driven. His car is incredible. Other cars are incredible. But you have a little thing. But you want to have gasoline-propelled cars. You want to have hybrids. You want to have all sorts. They say a new one is going to be hydrogen. Who the hell knows? They said it has a slight problem. It blows up. And if you're in the car, that could be a little problem. But you want to be able to have whatever it is, whatever the market is and all that stuff. But they said, sir, you're having a town hall tonight. And I said, a town hall? What the hell? They want a rally. They don't want a town hall. Town hall. And I said, so who is the host? Because host or hostess. And they said, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And I said, oh, that's good. I like that. But I figured, Sarah, I love these rallies. You go and you say, we will make America great. Everyone's going crazy. We had one the other night. But you know what? Can I be honest? This was more fun than a rally today. This was fun. This was good, right? This was very good.
We're going to take another question from the audience. Maybe the only job in the country harder than being president of the United States is being a mom, especially under this administration, because they're making everything harder. And tonight we have a mom here in the audience, Barbara, that's behind us, that has a question for you.
Hi, Barbara. Hello back there. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, President Trump. Thank you for taking our question.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara. I'm a mom of 3, a grandmother of 7, and 3 great-grands, a registered nurse, retired nurse. So I know the cost that goes into raising children and running a household.
Yeah.
People just can't survive now. How are you going to bring down the cost of food and groceries?
Good. Very good. Thank you. So we have to start always with energy. Always. I don't want to be boring about it, but there's no bigger subject. It covers everything. If you make donuts, if you make cars, whatever you make, energy is a big deal, and we're going to get that. It's my ambition to get your energy bill within 12 months down 50%. If I can do that, we've done a hell of a job. 5-0, not 15, 50. Interest rates are going to follow, and actually they're going to follow for another reason. The economy is now not good, and interest rates, you'll see they'll do the rate cut and all the political stuff tomorrow, I think. And, will he do a half a point? Will he do a quarter of a point? But the reason is because the economy is not good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. But we're going to get interest rates down, and we got to work with our farmers. Our farmers are being decimated right now. They're being absolutely decimated. And, one of the reasons is we allow a lot of farm product into our country, and we're going to have to be a little bit like other countries. We're not going to allow so much come. We're going to let our farmers go to work. And I don't know if you remember, I love the farmers because, I had many meetings as president. I had this gorgeous room with this beautiful table that seats about 35 people. And I was with the farmers. Usually everybody wants something. They all want subsidy. But I was with the farmers, and I think you might have been there actually, Sarah. I said, look, fellas, we're going to get you such a beautiful subsidy, meaning I'm going to do things. And one of the people raises in, sir, honestly, we don't want a subsidy. This is the first time this ever happened to me. Everyone they want money, they want to build windmills. We want money with these windmills. Anyway, but you know what? It was amazing. He said, almost tears in his eyes, they were getting decimated. We don't want a subsidy. We just want to play, a fair, level playing field. And I said, nobody's ever said that. And I have many industries and many groups of people from different things. They do all different things. It's probably the most dramatic I've ever seen. He didn't want anything. All he wanted was to be able to compete fairly. And the problem we have is other countries, they treat us very badly in that way also. They really are. And sometimes the worst countries are our so-called allies. I say so-called because in many ways they're not allies at all. They take advantage of us. They really take advantage. But we're going to do with the farmers. We're going to do what we have to do with the farmers. We're going to put our farmers. And do you remember the expression? When I was negotiating with China, China said, well, we're not going to deal with this because they never had anybody negotiate. They did whatever they want. They just took us for a bunch of suckers. But I told the farmers it's going to be very good negotiators. You're going to suffer for 6 months and then they're going to fold. And that's exactly what happened. They folded and they agreed to buy $50 billion. You might have heard the story. I said, how much? I went to the Secretary of Agriculture. How much did they buy? He said 15. I thought he said 50. So when they're ready to make a deal at 15 billion, I said, no, I want 50. That's what they've been buying. He said, no, it's 15. I said, you said 50. And he said, no, we said 15. I said, that's okay. Ask for 50 anyway. And we got it. We got it. And they buy a lot of our product. But so it's just a great interest rates, energy, and common sense. A lot of it's common sense. Everything. I like to say we're the party of common sense. We want to have a strong border. How about we want a strong, all of a sudden they've changed. They didn't want any border. They said walls don't work. Two things work. What are the two things? Wheels and walls. If there's a gorgeous computer down here. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be obsolete. A friend of mine is in that business. He hates it. He said, we come up with a new model, and it's the greatest. About 3.5 weeks later, the damn thing's totally obsolete. The only thing that never gets obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall is what we're talking about now. And, we built hundreds of miles of wall. We then added more than I ever said I was going to do. And then we had that bad election result, that disgusting result. And they never put it up. You know what they did with it? They sold it for 5 cents, and it was expensive wall. It was exactly what the Border Patrol wanted, with the anti-climb plate on top, which I always hated because I didn't like the look of it. But, they demonstrated it. We had mountain climbers and a couple of drug climbers, too. These guys are amazing. They can They put 100 pounds of drugs on the back and they go up the wall like it's nothing. But they couldn't get over the plate. So all of a sudden I said, okay, I'll put the plate on. I didn't like it. I liked it better without the plate, but it didn't work quite as well. So this is what we did. We had it. We had the best. We had a thing called Remain in Mexico. You don't have to be a genius to know Remain in Mexico is a very good thing. And you think that was easy to get. I think Tijuana, Mexico was probably the fastest growing city in the history of the world. Okay, they had hundreds of thousands. They couldn't come in. When they got in, they let everybody pour into our country. The border, just to finish with the border, when I talk about energy, to me it's exciting, but to a lot of people it's not. But it gets exciting because we'll bring down your costs, all that. But what people want to hear, and I believe when I got elected, I believe it was the border that was the biggest thing, and I fixed it, and I did a great job. And I wanted to mention it in 2020, and my people would say, sir, nobody cares about the border. They don't care because I had it fixed. Now I got to fix it again. I believe the border is of the greatest interest. When you look at what's happening in Aurora, okay? Take a look at Aurora. When you look at what's happening in Ohio, the great state of Ohio, I love it. I'm way the hell up. I wish I was up 18 points in your state, but we are up. We are up. I think when people hear what I have to say, I don't know how you can possibly lose it. I'll tell you this, and I'll say this for Michigan. If I don't win, you will have no auto industry within 2 to 3 years. It'll all be gone. And I know you got a little bit of an increase. It doesn't mean that's the small stuff because it's just a temporary thing. Because you will not have any manufacturing plants. China's going to take over all of your business because of the electric car and because they have the material we don't. What we have is a thing called gasoline. We have gasoline. We have so much gasoline we don't know what to do. They don't have gasoline. So why are we making a product that they dominate? They're going to dominate. You will not have a car industry left, not even a little bit of a car industry. And you're going to have electric cars, but you're going to have 7%, you're going to have 9%, whatever it may be. And maybe someday the technology becomes so good that you can do more. I mean, it's fine. But right now, the battery technology isn't there for long term. I always say, I love the electric car, but they don't go far enough. And they don't do well. In Iowa, it was 20 degrees below zero when we had our great success in Iowa. We had a great, and there were cars all over the place. I said, what's wrong with those cars? They don't work well in cold. And they don't work very well in heat. But Elon's going to figure it out because he's great. He gave me the greatest endorsement. He figures everything out. And right now he's got other things to think. He's got to get a rocket up to get those 2 people out of there. I said, Elon, let's get going. No, they're relying on Elon to get the 2 people. Who would like to be up there right now saying we're coming back home maybe in February? So that was not so good. But Elon will solve the problem. He's great guy. And he loves this state, and he loves your whole, everything you're doing here. And he's done a fantastic job. He really has. And if he didn't endorse me, I would not be saying that, okay? I wouldn't be saying that.
Thank you. We've got time, I think, for just one more question. When you were president, you built one of the strongest economies our country's ever seen. One of the ways you did that was by passing the largest tax cut in American history. We have a question from Willie who wants to ask you something about taxes and what you're going to do.
Good evening,
Hi, Willie.
future President Trump. I'm a local contractor in this town.
He's a cool-looking guy, too. He's better looking than you.
I'm a local contractor in this town, and I live here my whole life. And I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of concerned about crucial Kamala's tax increase. Can you outline for the people what you plan on doing about taxes?
Great. It's a great question. Look, she's going to double up your taxes. She wants to terminate the Trump tax cut. Just that is going to lift up your taxes by 44%. Just that one move. And remember, I have it so that, like, if you're a farmer or a small businessman, you have no inheritance tax. They're going to give that up. They're going to give everything. A lot of people don't realize, a lot of people didn't talk about it, but if you have a small business, if you have a farm someplace, a lot of farmers, they have beautiful land, but they don't have the cash, and they leave it to their children, and they're so proud of their children, and the children end up going bankrupt because they have to borrow money to pay off the estate tax. There is no estate tax, and that's something that nobody even talks about, but that's saved a lot of families from having to sell their farm or losing their farm. But But she's got one thing that's incredible, an unrealized capital gain tax. That will drive every business out of the United States. So what that is I don't know how they can possibly administer. The only ones that are going to make money are appraisers and accountants. So they're taking a business, might have not a lot of money, but it might have great land, and they're valuing it. And what was it this year compared to next year? You got to put down a value, and then you got to go out and you have to pay tax, even though you haven't sold anything. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I don't know how any rich person or any person that's in business can even think of supporting her. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So, and they're going to raise the capital gains tax, Willie, a lot. Now, as far as regular, people are going to have to pay a lot more tax. Your taxes, she said, 70 to 80%. Some people will pay 70, 80%. You have to understand, a lot of these people are international business people. A lot of these companies are international. They don't care if they're here or someplace else. They go for the best deal. They go for their shareholders. If they raise the taxes like that, they go to other countries. You know who got a lot of our companies is Ireland. Years ago, they took our pharmaceutical industry because they gave them a better deal. They will leave our country. They will leave all those jobs that we created. And I want people to pay fair taxes and all of that. But she's going to be raising your taxes to 50, 60, 70%. And it's not sustainable. And even for the companies, if they have to pay too much, they're going to leave the country and you're not going to have any jobs. So we have to be very, very careful about it. We have to be very, very careful. And I have to tell you that this has really been an honor. This will be the most fun of any state because we're going to bring back an industry that you can do it. You know, we're going to bring back an industry. And mark my words, if for some reason some tragedy happens, because it would be a tragedy beyond the auto business for the whole country, I really believe that. If a tragedy happens and we don't win, there will be 0 car jobs, manufacturing jobs. It will all be out of here. And that includes South Carolina. That includes other places that are competitors of yours. You won't be making cars here anymore. You won't be making anything in our country anymore. We're going to bring it all back. But the one, and I say this, and I said it to another state the other night, and I said, this is not a good thing to say to another state, but I said, Michigan's going to be the most fun because you're so set up for greatness. All you need is somebody smart at the top to say, you can't flood our market with cars. You just can't do it. And if I say you have to pay 100%, you know China pays a big, but I didn't do the big number yet. But if I say you have to pay 100 or 200%, it doesn't matter because I'm going to say, second sense, I hope you don't mind this. However, if you build your plant in Detroit, or if you build it in Michigan, or if you build it anywhere in the United States for that matter, it seems to be the right location, but we're going to have more fun. So I'm telling them about Michigan, and I'm saying, you know, the story's getting a little bit long because I'm talking about Michigan. I happen to be in another state, but everybody loved it because they know you. You're recognized for this. We're going to get, now, they go from paying 100% tariff to paying nothing. All they have to do is build their factory and spend their hundreds of millions of dollars in your state. This will be like taking candy from a baby. It'll happen first, and you get the credit. I'm going to give you the credit.
Well, I don't think there's any question that America was better off under Donald Trump. And we know that it's going to be even better the second time around. Before tonight, I knew you were going to win the presidency. I had no doubt. Arkansas is going to come in huge. But now I know you're going to win Michigan by epic margin.
Yes, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need you to show up. We need you to vote because the future of my kids, your kids, our grandkids depends on whether or not Donald Trump goes back into the White House. And I know you're not going to let us down. More importantly, I know President Trump is not going to let us down because he's shown us time and time again that no matter what comes at him, no matter what the left throws at him, he's going to get back up and keep fighting for this country that he loves so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, man. I'll see you.
All right, I had to cut it before the music starts. So, good one. Actually got 3 or 4 questions answered. Good questions, great answers, both at the same time. Amazing, simply amazing. He got on stage right about time, and it looked like they went for about an hour. So they're in Michigan right now. I heard some people say he may be on Hannity tonight at 9. Not really sure. I know he might have been on last night, but not sure how he's going to get to a studio or what he's going to do, if he's going to call in, if he's going to be on Hannity. Not sure. But in any event, so he went through a bunch of things and capped off a lot of things. Pretty comprehensive in what he was saying. It is just the contrast between the two of these people. Kamala Harris did a interview today with the National Association of Black Journalists. A layup if you'd ever seen one. And she didn't make any sense. I don't get it. How you can look at this man who's like, I want to build back our economy. I want people to be prosperous again. I want people to be safe again. I don't want to see this influx of everything that's going on. I don't want communism. Let me just make sure we see him. He's off stage. I don't want to see extremely nutty taxes. I don't want to see unrealized capital gains. I don't want to see any of this stuff that she's talking about. We don't have 2 candidates that are close. We have 2 candidates that are light years away from each other. And for the life of me, like he said, which I've said many times, rich people aren't for this. It's all a ruse. There is no possible way anybody playing in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, singing on a stage, wants to see 60 to 70% of their income go to the government. It's all a lie. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say what I think it is, but I think a lot of these people are seriously compromised. You saw what happened today with a huge music entertainer. And we've seen this music entertainer basically go down, the guy with the island route. He basically embodied that guy, and he did very much the same stuff. And he got taken down today. It was so bad for P. Diddy that his attorney asked for a $51 million bail. $51 million. And the judge said, nope, you're not getting out of jail. I hope that he, gets what's coming to him once he goes through the court system, but I hope it's not the kind of exit from jail that the other guy got. Because I'm pretty sure that P. Diddy got some names, and we already know he's got some video. So watch what happens there. Watch who may take off in a private jet and take off. This could get crazy. But in any event, that aside, which we're going to have to keep monitoring, nobody, not Taylor Swift, not Mark Cuban, none of them want to pay 60, 70% of their income to the government, or 20, 30, 40% of unrealized capital gains. It ain't happening. Mark Cuban's on Shark Tank. He's an investor. He's putting out millions to potential businesses. And one of those businesses that he may buy with a capitalization of like maybe 800,000 right now could in a year or two be worth 20, 30, 40 million. Do the math on that unrealized capital gains. You invest in something that's really not doing much, but you got a 20 or 30% share, and all of a sudden this company with your investment and your network takes off. You don't cash out, you still own it. but you got to write a check for it. Not happening. I'm telling you, it's not happening. We're seeing the biggest ruse in political history. Nobody wants it. Nobody. And so she did this softball interview today. And I'm going to show you this. It's only about 5 minutes long. And I want you to see the contrast. Here was Trump on stage in front of 8, 9, 10,000 people. Friendly audience, friendly host, same thing. This wasn't a stinging interview at CNN. Let's call it what it is. It was a home game for him. I don't have a problem calling it a home game for him. He still performed. Kamala Harris also had a home game today with the National Association of Black Journalists. So I'm going to play something. It's 5 minutes and 33 seconds. We're going to take a listen to this because when you hear what she has to say versus what you just heard Donald Trump say, you tell me who looks like they're ready to lead this country. Ready? Let me put my ears in so you guys can hear it and I can hear it together. But you got to hear this. Let's go.
I mean, my heart breaks for this community. You know, there were children, elementary school children, who it was school photo day. You remember what that's like? Going to school on picture day? Who were dressed up in their best, got all ready, knew what they were going to wear the night before?
Yes, she's talking to people in the audience about being in kindergarten and you're dressed up for school picture day.
And had to be evacuated. Children. A whole community put.
So what she's talking about, and I talked to you earlier about the hoaxes and BS the Democrats say. She's talking about these kids having to be evacuated from school because of bomb threats. And she's telling these people on this panel, it's horrible. They're in their Sunday best. And they're just sitting there with lollipops and ice cream cones. And little Judy and little Jimmy have to get evacuated because of a bomb threat. It's dangerous what Trump is saying, the rhetoric. Notice, as you will hear, not one peep from anybody on the panel talks about the information today that those bomb threats were hoaxes phoned in by somebody in another country. Had nothing to do with Trump. In fact, it could have been the Democrats staging something, just so she could go on television and talk about little Judy's, patent leather shoes she's got on as she was being evacuated. Absolutely no substance.
In fear. And I'll say a couple things about it. One, I learned a long time ago in my career, having a background as a prosecutor, when you have these positions, when you have that kind of microphone in front of you, you really ought to understand at a very deep level how much your words have meaning.
She actually said that. She just said, if you have a microphone in front of you, which she does, let me check again. Yes, she has a microphone in front of her. She is spewing complete misinformation as she's about to say that Donald Trump is a bad guy with his microphone.
I learned at a very young stage in my career that the meaning of my words could impact whether somebody was free or in prison. As Attorney General, I was of California, fifth largest economy in the world. I was acutely aware that my words could move markets.
Somebody should give her, a throat lozenge or something because, man, she sounds like that. You see the difference, though, so far between the energy that Trump puts out as a 78-year-old man and this woman who can barely barely hold the microphone. And, I'm acutely aware of me being an attorney general in the S-hole of California.
When you are bestowed with a microphone that is that big,
Oh, it's big, all right.
there is a profound responsibility that comes with that. That is an extension of what should not be lost in this moment, this concept of the public trust.
This woman's going to lecture people about trust. Earlier you saw in the pre-show, I showed you, she kept talking about Project 2025 and all the other stuff. She's brought up Charlottesville, all kinds of things. So she's talking about the trust when you hold the microphone in your hand.
To then understand what the public trust means. It means that you have been invested with trust.
She said that 3 times in like less than half a sentence. You understand what trust means. It means people trust you to basically include trust.
Be responsible in the way you use your words, much less how you conduct yourself. And especially when you have been and then seek to be again President of the United States of America. And so I go back to, it's a crying shame, literally. What's happening to those families, those children in that community?
Okay, so I told you earlier, I've never heard a Democrat politician criticize newcomers. What she's saying is the fact that you people are questioning these Haitians, and some of them are little kids, it's a crying shame. You shouldn't be allowed to do that, you stupid Americans.
Mention what is happening in terms of, look, you say you care about law enforcement resources being put into this because of these serious threats that are being issued against a community that is living a productive, good life before this happened.
Before it happened, yes, you are correct. I hope Trump blasts this everywhere. They were living a good life in a productive community before this happened. She didn't define this. She thinks it's people calling in bomb threats. No, this is you dropping out of parachutes out of planes 20,000 Haitians. But that's not what she's talking about. The fact that you people are criticizing these newcomers and they just want to be productive members of the community, but they're not.
And spewing lies that are grounded in tropes that are...
See, if you criticize any newcomer, you're a racist. Even if you're black. See it? You understand? It's a trope. Anything you say that's negative against a newcomer, it means you're racist. Put on the hat. Get a big R. Get a big R in your shirt. You can have no opinion that criticizes newcomers. Period. End of story. And if you're white, oh, it's even worse. Don't you dare criticize these newcomers. Who are you with your tropes?
Age old. And look, I said it not very far from here the other day at the debate. This is not new. This is not new in terms of these tropes. This is not new in terms of where it's coming from.
This guy's talking about tariffs, building up factories, stopping things from happening, making people more prosperous, drilling, getting oil back, gas prices down, get the delivery trucks moving at a cheaper rate, which drives food prices down. And this woman is taking the time to defend dropping 20,000 people into a community, and you people are wrong for having an issue with it. Understand, that's exactly what she's saying. How dare you? How dare you revert to things that have happened in America's past? You know, this stuff has gone on for a long time. You need to accept what we've done. And if you don't accept it, if you don't embrace it with open arms, then you're going to be just using these racist tropes that have been going on forever, because you won't embrace the influx of the newcomers. That is specifically what she's saying.
And, you know, whether it is refusing to rent to people, rent to black families.
Okay, so now she's going back to a lawsuit that Trump had 1980? Is that what we're talking about? 1980, 79? Where they said he wouldn't rent to black people, and they filed a lawsuit. And of course, people who are rich settle lawsuits. She didn't mention what he did with Jennifer Hudson. You know, black woman, her family, they all got murdered. What's he do? He puts her up in his hotel. All the other black people he's hired and helped. Nope, don't want to talk about it. And then you know what's coming after this one, right? Just got to go back even further.
Whether it is taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times against 5 innocent black and Latino teenagers, the Central Park 5, calling...
You know you've lost if the only stuff you can throw at your opponent is what they did 40, 50 years ago. You've lost. You have nothing to talk about. Trump gets on stage and he's talking about everything that people care about. I want cheaper food. I want cheaper gas. I want lower interest rates. I don't want to have these taxes that you're proposing. I don't want any of this stuff. What are you going to do about it? So I'm going to drill. We're going to get the gas prices down, which is going to allow deliveries to your store. It's going to drop the price of groceries. I'm going to make sure that we're not taxed. No tax on tips. No tax on Social Security. No tax on overtime. And Kamala wants to talk about the Central Park 5 from like 1975. That probably most of the people in that room have no idea what she's talking about. Every single person in that room has to leave that event and get into a car and drive or take, you know, a bus or Uber, anything. They at that point they have to leave, and they are going to immediately, not in a while, immediately feel the effects of the Harris-Biden economics, Bidenomics, Harrisonomics, whatever you want to call it. She doesn't want you to focus on what matters to you. What she wants you to focus on is stuff that matters to not even her. She's trying to just hurt, you know, appeal to your emotion that people are bad. Republicans are bad. All they want to do is be racist.
For their execution, whether it is referring to the first black president of the United States with a lie, birther lies. And look, the American people deserve, and I do believe want better than this. I do believe that. I know. The vast majority of us as Americans know we have so much more in common than what separates us.
You know what I deserve? I don't care about anything you're talking about. I deserve to know that my wife, my little Chihuahua, my daughter, and my grandkids can grow up in a community that they choose to live in, that will not be infiltrated with people that you airdrop in who don't belong in that community. Yes, I said the word, don't belong. If you didn't earn the money to live where we live, you don't belong. If you don't buy a house and be in an area that my daughter lives in, you don't belong. You cannot continue to force people in various communities just to accept it or shut up. Because if you don't accept it and you don't shut up, you're like the Central Park 5 incident. You're like calling Obama the whole birther thing. That's what she's saying. Eat it, accept it, and shut up. And if you don't shut up, we might have to put you in a re-education camp real soon here, okay? Okay.
I know that. I know that regardless of someone's background, their race, their gender, their geographic location, I know that people are deeply troubled by what is happening to that community.
How about the people in the community? She's saying that people are troubled by what's happening in that community. You mean the fact that you dropped 20,000 Haitians into the community? Yeah, you're probably right. I'm telling you, this is going to be an ad for Trump. Yeah, you're right, they're upset.
Springfield, Ohio. And it's got to stop. And
you control the stoppage of it. Stop airdropping people into these communities. This is just the most insane thing she had. And these people, on the panel are just saying, oh, yes, I understand, Miss Kamala. Yes, tell them to stop being racist and take it. Bend over, grab your ankles, and take it. Because if you complain about these newcomers, you're a racist.
Gotta say that you cannot be entrusted with standing behind the seal of the President of the United States of America, engaging in that hateful rhetoric that, as usual, is designed to divide us as a country.
I'm sorry. If I live in a nice little town called Springfield, 50, 60,000 people, and I feel like my life there is great. I enjoy it. I live in Springfield. And you drop 20,000 newcomers into my neighborhood who have no assimilation whatsoever. Who divided that community? I think you really need to dwell on that. She needs to dwell on that. The community was here, and there were 60,000 people there. Getting along, not getting along, I don't know. I haven't run the police reports, but for the most part, that community has been there. And you poured in 20,000 Haitians who are doing God knows what, and you're telling people, as a presidential candidate of the United States, you need to accept it, deal with it, because it's divisive if you don't accept it. I'm telling you people what's coming. If you guys aren't looking and watching what's happening, they are going to destroy your community, and when you complain, they're going to tell you to shut up and take it. And then when things pop off and people start rounding up posses, you know what's coming.
Is designed to have people pointing fingers at each other. It's designed to do that. And I think most people in our country, regardless of their race, are starting to see through this nonsense.
The nonsense we're seeing through is the nonsense of you throwing in and basically destroying communities. Like I said earlier, forgot the name of the town in Alabama, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and he dropped off 2,500 Haitians. You took 50% of that community and you flipped it upside down. And again, you're expecting people to deal with it. Shut up, bend over, take it, or else we will call you a racist and divisive. I just don't understand how the Democrats think this is going to work.
And to say, you know what, let's turn the page on this. This is exhausting and it's harmful. And it's hateful. And grounded in some age-old stuff that we should not have the tolerance for. So let's turn the page and chart a new way forward and say, you can't have that microphone again.
Let's turn the page. After I've dumped these people into your communities, you're not allowed to speak. And this guy Trump, no, he's not on board with this. It's just racist tropes. And he's not allowed to speak. She just said that. You're not allowed to have the microphone again. I didn't create that video. That video was posted. She actually did that live. The entire thing was broadcast. And I just watched the man stand on stage where people are like, can you help us? We're farmers. We're auto workers. We want to work. We want to be prosperous. We want to earn money. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to pay taxes. We don't want these newcomers just invading our communities. And you contrast that with a woman who just said, shut up and deal with it. Didn't mention anything about the issues that people actually care about. She was on television, I think, for an hour or so. And you saw some of the earlier cuts. What are you going to do about, the economy? And she went right back into, well, I was a, middle-class kid. I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you. How are you going to make my life economically better? How are you going to make my life as good as I had it 4 years ago? Well, what you don't understand is these little kids and these Haitians, we have to embrace them. And you're trying to tell me with a straight face that half this country is okay with this crap? You're trying to tell me you're polling people and the polls are so close, so many people are okay with this. Do a quick poll here. Go into that town in Alabama of just 4,000 people. Should be easy because that's basically about the size that you poll. Get your asses on a plane, land there, right wherever you landed these Haitians, and walk around. Excuse me. What do you think about what we just did? Oh, what do you think about what we just did? Ask them. Ask them. No, you're pontificating from on high and telling people, we know it's okay. And we've got all these people who say they're voting for it. That's because right now they don't live there. But are people not astute enough to realize if we vote her in, is she going to airdrop Haitians into my neighborhood? Are you not even asking yourself that? You can see the feigned passion she has for these people. This time it's Haitians. Next week it might be, Venezuelans, whoever. She didn't say anything about helping Americans. She didn't feel heartfelt about the Americans who, are impugned, impacted by what she's doing. Show me where you're going to talk about helping Americans. These people don't want this in their community, and you're not even addressing it because we're just going to move on and do it someplace else. How do we know? They just friggin' did it. Go look it up. Let me see if I can even find it. Small town in Alabama. I don't want you guys to think I'm lying. Alabama. Well, let me see if it pops right up. Hopefully Google hasn't scrubbed anything. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Let's see if I can't pull this up for you in case you guys haven't seen this. All right, here we go. I can't even pronounce the name of the town here, but the name of the town is Sylacauga. Small town. Sylacauga council member fears civil unrest over Haitian migrants. When is enough enough? This was today, September 17th at 1:33, updated at 12:52. Laura Barlow Heath has served on the Sylacauga City Council since 2020. A member of the Sylacauga City Council told Fox News that people in her city want answers as to the cause of Haitian immigration to her area. All right, so let me blow this up a little bit because you guys need to see this, all right? So this woman who actually lives there, unlike Kamala, said city officials have no answers from federal authorities to give to their constituents. What the hell are all these people doing here? We don't know. They just showed up. And they're not getting any answers. Go through it here. There's a fear here of becoming the next Springfield, When is enough enough? When do they stop coming in? How many are there going to be? There's no answers. We have no answers. The unknown and uncertainty is scary. We have 12,000 people in our community, and that's a small community. And we just don't have the adequate resources to handle an influx of migrants, newcomers. It's going to take away from resources that are already struggling here. This woman has served on a city council since 2020. The council dismissed the meeting earlier this month after only 20 minutes following questions from several residents about recent immigration to the area. Oh, done. Gavel. We got to get out. We don't even want to hear you people anymore. Imagine that. Hey, Mr. Councilman, you went to school with Fred the doctor, and Jim the lawyer, and Joey the baker. We got some questions for you. What the hell's going on with all these people? Oh, that's it, done. We're done for the night. Several residents said they want to know how the city knew new workers coming. There were newcomers who had determined this and what effect they were having on crime and housing. Later, at another council meeting, they took some questions. Sikaluga, like Athens and Albertville, has seen controversy on social media related to the Haitians, which some residents are blaming for crime, scarce housing, and overcrowded schools. She said she feels bad for them, some of them whom she feels are being trafficked for labor. They're in a foreign country. It's almost like a case of human trafficking. Even though they're not working, people are hiring them in at a lower rate of pay, cash workers. That's just not right. Nobody wins in that situation. However, she says city officials have learned nothing from federal authorities about the number of newcomers who have come to the area. The federal CHNV, Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan parole program allows immigrants from Haiti along with 3 other countries to enter the U.S. without entry documents that they have a sponsor, meet certain guidelines, and undergo a vetting. Yeah, okay. How do I know it's going to happen to your community? Because the people in Silacquagga, it's happening to them. They didn't know. Oh yeah, we're watching this on Aurora. Oh, that sucks out there. Oh, you people in Springfield, oh, that really sucks. What do you mean they're here? Oh yeah, look out the front door. There's a whole army of them walking up the street. I guarantee you the people in Aurora didn't know who the Tres Leches gang was. I'm pretty sure the people in Springfield are like, whoa, what just happened? Who are these people? Why are they walking through my streets? And I'm pretty sure the people here of Silacquagga, Alabama, can't even pronounce this town, a little town of 4,000 to 10,000 people, and all of a sudden, whoosh, dropped in. Boof. How do you know it's coming to your town? Because it's coming to everybody else's. And all she's telling you as a presidential candidate, she didn't say, no, we're not going to keep doing this. She didn't say, I understand how people can be concerned. She didn't say, you know what, we're going to help these communities because, we know this might be a little overwhelming and we're going to get them some federal support and services to make sure everything's okay. She didn't say any of that. She says, shut up, quit with your racist tropes, and accept it, deal with it, bend over, grab your ankles, and shut the heck up. If that's what people want as their president, God help us. God help us. I mean, that's absolutely just completely insane. Invest in protection. Yeah, better. They need to bust them to New York and Chicago. We don't even know where they're going. To top it off, they have absolutely no plans as to what on earth to do with or about these people when they drop them off. Nope. Good luck. Good luck down there. It's coming to your community. Do not sit here and watch this show and say it couldn't happen here. If it could happen to a little Tony town called Silacquagga, Alabama, this little bustling town of 12,000 people, if it could happen there, it can happen where you live. And don't for an instant think that it's not coming if she becomes president. She didn't apologize for it. Listen to what she said. Rewind this. You're the problem. You, people like Donald Trump who don't just accept it and understand that these people are going to be Americans, they're going to vote, they're going to take your jobs, just deal with it. And she said it with disdain, like we should never let them near another microphone ever again. Why? Because they're speaking out against this with racist tropes. Hey man, how about a flipping apology? What you did to my community. Wait till the first person in What happens when these people don't have anywhere to sleep, eat? Alabama can get kind of cold in November as well. Parts of it. Not going to snow, but still. My mic is not off. My mic is on. What do you mean? 300 people just showed up in Oceanside, California. It's happening, people. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. Barry, I live 39 miles away from Sulacaga. Preach it. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. They don't care about you. I watched that speech and I was dumbfounded. I'm like, she is literally saying, shut up and take it. It's your fault that you don't understand what's happening here. You are the bad people, not these people coming in. They just want a better life. There's no plan. You didn't say, hey, listen, we have support services set up and we're going to make sure that, this building here, we've renovated so it's got some apartments and we've got, job candidates and we're going to... Bye. Good luck. What she doesn't understand, or maybe what they do understand, this may be what they do understand, is Aurora, it's in Colorado. It's a blue area. Springfield, Ohio, not really sure. You start putting these people in towns in Alabama, you start putting these people in towns in Louisiana, you might start seeing some of these people disappear. I'm not telling anybody to do it, but I'm telling you, you're going to put some people in a certain town. And the men in that town, I'm telling you, be careful, stay frosty. Because at that point, even the women carrying. I remember meeting Robin's grandmother, and this woman was basically a little bit over 5 feet tall. And I remember walking into her living room, and she's like, "Oh, how you doing? Have a seat, blah, blah." And I look over there, and "Oh, your grandma's packing." Yeah, she lives up here in the hills. She's packing. You don't think there's some people in Sylacauga, Alabama, that can make you disappear? I know there's some people in Louisiana. In Louisiana, make some people disappear. It's going to come to that. You're not going to be like Aurora and start knocking on people's doors and kicking in their doors and say, you pay me rent. You're not. It's not going to be like Springfield, where you surprise people and you're maybe, we'll find out more, start doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. You do certain things down here in the South in certain places, you won't be doing them for long. I don't know if that's actually their plan. Because pretty much, it is local justice. There are some towns down here that you don't want to mess. You don't want to be there. Even Boss Hogg, the sheriff, might just go and look the other way. Hey, you seen these 25 Haitians? No, ain't seen them. But we dropped them off last week. Wow, I don't know. Did you give them a phone or anything? Because I ain't seen nobody. You don't think that could happen? You don't think that's how it might begin? You start putting these people in communities and let them wreak havoc and then tell people it's their fault? Because they're racist? You need to deal with it? I'm sure there's some people in the chat here kind of snickering going, not here. Not down here. Jason Aldean's song, he wasn't kidding. Try that in a small town? I don't think the people in New York and Washington, D.C. even understand that. And I am not advocating for that. I'm just saying if you're putting people in a position where you're telling them, shut up and deal with it, or you're a racist, and something happens to their little girl or their little boy or their dog, you're not going to be there to help these people you dropped in these neighborhoods, and they're going to disappear. Say I'm wrong. They pick the places where people won't fight back, maybe. William Gary says, I love my alligator farm. If you've never been to an alligator farm, it's enlightening. It is quite enlightening. We need better than you for sure. Yeah, okay. They want civil wars is what they want. They're going to get it. I mean, I don't know how they're picking these towns, but eventually they're going to run out of towns where people just lay down, and there's going to be some people that go, not here, man. Not in a small town. Can't have it. My little girl still walks up and down the street. We don't worry about anything. This ain't happening. Barry, you're right. I'm from Louisiana. And you know what's funny about that? I'm older. I've been around, and I know. Don't go effing around near the bayou, people. Say, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Everything's good. We're fine. And I don't mean if you're black or white. You act a fool, you get the same justice. See, it's not racist. It's like, hey, you can't do that here. You can't climb through my window and do what you want with my daughter. I ain't got time to call 911, and the gators ain't been fed. Oh, man. We have less than 100 folks here, all heavily poo-poo and highly trained from farming. And if there's any liberal trolls up in here, I'm telling you, maybe you might want to get in your car and drive from New York or Washington and head down I-95 and then get off of 95, somewhere about in North Carolina, South Carolina, and then head west and take some of these little roads and see what you see out there. You might not even see a cop for a couple miles. Well, the cops in some of these rural towns, they're just up and down looking for speeders. And they know also, oh man, Jim Bob's probably going to take care of this shit himself. And I do not mean Jim Bob in any sort of denigrating way. You'll be lower. You'll be sucked lower than a dick. I don't wish this on anybody. I don't even wish this on the Haitians that they're dropping off or the Venezuelans that they're dropping off. These people are being used. If they haven't been vetted, if they're criminals and you're dropping them off in these small towns, it's the government's fault. Because you're putting these people in positions where the people who live there are going to have to defend themselves, and the other people have no... you can't eat. There's no food. What am I supposed to do? I got to take something. Crazy. My town's cops still drive the homeless out of town, not in our hood. You got to go. Yeah, I don't think people understand that. Exactly, Barry. I've lived in some of these towns. I've driven through some of these towns. I remember one time when Ashley was a little girl. She won't remember. She was sleeping in the back seat of the car. And I was going through I remember the town. It was Valdosta, Georgia, a town outside of Valdosta, Georgia. And I needed to get gas. I get out of the car. She was sleeping. And I walked in and got change. And when I walked back, she was up smiling at me. And she locked the door. And then she laid back down and went to sleep. And I'm like, oh, man. And I walked into the store. And the guy looked me in the eye. He goes, and I swear to the Lord this is true. He looked me in the eye and said, you ain't from around here, is you? I've told this story for 30 years. I'm still a big guy, but I was still in the roid days. And this man chilled me to where the hair on the back of my neck and my arms stood up. He looked me right in the eye and said, you ain't from around here, is you? No, and I just need some help, please, because I got a problem here. Can you help me out? And as I walked outside, the local, sheriff was out there. And as you can see, my complexion and what I look like. And he goes, who's that? And that's my daughter, Ashley. And he knocked on the door, and she kind of looked up. At that time, her hair was a little bit blonder, and she looks Caucasian. And he looks at her, and he looks at me. That's your daughter? Yeah, that's my daughter, sir. Hey, darling, click that button right here. And she opened the door. Hey, Daddy. And he's like, it's a good thing. Now, please be on your way. Bye. I'm gone. True story. Absolute true story. Remember the song Amos Moses by Jerry Reed? Tom, you went going way back. Way, way, way back. Have these immigrants been orchestrated to vote? Probably. I know some are trying it. How come we don't see women in men's sports? Good question. Good question. Baker, I swear that's the absolute truth. You ain't from around here, is you? I'm like, well, and I'm gonna make sure I get out of here real quick, okay? Okay. Just let me just get the hell out of here. Rumor has it that many nightclubs, what's this? Many nightclubs in Alabama offer free lifetime membership if you have a pistol with a 6-inch or longer barrel. Also, free cover if you can throw a beer bottle over the building. Oh man, I think some of these, it's crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Yikes. My bottom line with this and why I'm saying this, and I'm kind of kidding. No, not about the story. Story is 100% true. Is be careful, man. I'm absolutely positive that the people in Silagwagua, Alabama, went to sleep one night in one town and woke up the next day and went, what the hell is this? Don't think it can't happen where you live. And now that you know they're in Silagwagua, what I want you to do is follow that. Google it every couple days. What's going on in Silagwagua? We saw what happened after a few days or a week or so in Aurora. We saw what happened after a few days and a week or so in Springfield. They just got to Silagwagua. Wait until those stories start bubbling up. And understand what we're up against. We're up against an evil force that wants to do this to where you live and where I live, and they don't expect you to say anything. And if you say anything, you're going to be labeled all kinds of names and basically have this woman sit back and go, they're just racist. These people are just trying to do this. No one invited them. No, they didn't buy a home. They didn't start a business. They just got thrown into these neighborhoods, and that's it. It's absolutely crazy. My buddy in Alabama won't play, and I think that's what happens. I think that's where it starts. I think what we're gonna see is people getting into a situation where they have to do what they got to do. We all know what that means. You got to do what you got to do. If it comes between some newcomer and your family, you're going to do what you got to do. And that's when I think they get basically the Civil War type thing that they're looking for. God help us all at that point. Seriously. I mean, at that point, who knows what's going to happen? It won't be pretty. All right, let me, before I go here, I've got to acknowledge all the super chats and fine people that have contributed to tonight's show, which I completely thank you. Let me just get with this. Okay, put it up here. All right, here we go. Crypto crackhead. Didn't DeSantis send them to Martha's Vineyard? Yeah, and they bounce them out of there really quick. Oh, before I continue, make sure you know tomorrow night, which should be very interesting. Tomorrow night, 6:30, be back here again. So I won't have a regular show at 7. 6:30 tomorrow. Let me just get it in here so you can see it. 6:30 tomorrow, Trump's got a full rally. And you're not going to believe where this rally is. Trump is doing a rally in deep blue New York. He's doing a rally in Uniondale, New York. Uniondale is over there in Long Island. So he must know something. He must have seen some kind of numbers that said New York might be in play. because there's no other reason to hold a rally in New York. But he will be in New York tomorrow. So 6:30, come on back. We're going to do this all over again. I can't wait to see what kind of crowd he draws on Long Island. That's going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's going to send a shiver up the spine of Kamala if he gets a huge crowd in Uniondale, New York. Long Island? I can tell you what a lot of it's probably going to be saying tomorrow. He's going to talk to basically a lot of people in the Jewish community. He's going to say, how can you vote for these people? How can you do it? Be here tomorrow, 6:30. All right, back to what we were saying. Enercita, thank you very much for both of those. Even the Dominicans that share an island with Haiti don't want them there. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, what's it called? El Espanol or whatever. Española is the island. Half the island is Haiti, and half the island is the Dominican Republic. If you've never seen an overhead shot of Española at night, you'll be amazed. Go ahead and look on Google for an overhead shot of Española, and you'll see half the island has electricity and lights, and the other thing is dark. Dark, nothing there. It's amazing. Susan Timmerman, thank you very much. Let's have a fair election. Agreed. Genesis, thank you. Kimmy Joe, Project 2025 is not our fear. Our fear is Agenda 2030. Big Cat, thank you, Barry. There's a little excitement up there in Michigan tonight. Yeah, there was. The Lawn Mower Detective, God bless the USA, Barry and Donald Trump. Mike McCarthy, thank you. It's been crazy today. Thanks, Barry, for keeping your head. Scott, thank you. Thank you very much. From Nancy from West Virginia. Sandra Key, thank you. Let's see here. Linda King, Trump is protected by our Lord and Savior. God has a plan for Trump. Keep praying. And also pray for people in these small towns like Sicalagua. I'm sorry if I'm just completely destroying the name of that town, but it's kind of funny name for me. Silagua, yeah, something like that. Patriot Rob, $5 says in the next couple of days they're going to start saying stuff about Trump mixing up names and place he's too old. The media's pathetic. Sandy, Barry, did you get a chance to read my email about the 2024 election meltdown? No, I have not had a chance to read it, but that's all about to change because I'm getting emails where Ashley can get most of the emails and go through them and let me know what I need to look at because I'm always watching news and editing. So we're going to take care of that. I'm a black girl for Trump. Thank you, Karen Reyes. Thank you for your great coverage of Trump. Thank you. Wait, what? You're up in New York? Are you going to Uniondale tomorrow? Let me know. Pasco County, Florida for Trump. Hey, Jeffrey. Brent Cushman, thank you. Jay Knack, thank you. Cops for Trump. Yeah, some of these cops can tell you what goes on in some of these small towns. Jersey City for Trump. You going to head over to Uniondale tomorrow? Head to the rally. Cameron, I was only 20 people from entering in a building met capacity. Thousands of people outside. Flint for Trump 2024. Yes, if you're going to a rally, get there extremely early. Now with the second assassination attempt, the security is like Rambo. Basically, it takes a long time to snake through the line to get into the venue. Nay, thank you, Barry, for sharing real news. You're welcome. Sandra Key, Justin Flint, the crowd was huge, over 30,000 in line. We got here at 2:30 and the venue was almost full. 20,000 people ahead of us. Only people leaving are those that can't get in. Love it. Love it. People on the ground telling the truth. Dog Speak, I lightly insulted Kamala and got a timeout. What's going on here? If Ashley or SV or Tommy are looking at this, maybe it wasn't us, but we can look into it, but glad you stayed. Lou Jack, thank you. Lisa Burke, God compels us to fulfill his works. It's not time for New World Order. Things happen in God's time, no matter what the left does. True. Joe Meade, Pennsylvania for Trump. B. Beltran, God is behind Trump. Thanks, Sarah. Detroit Dale, thank you very much. Howdy doody to you, thank you. Kathy Burnett, love this channel, Barry, thank you very much. Thank you. Great job as always, Barry from Crazy Horse. Hey, Crazy Horse. Linda Lou, Maha, make America healthy again for my Rihanna. Yes, thank you. Crypto Crackhead again. Can't send a rocket into space without liquid fuel. Brad Crane, thank you. Mark of Reality, thank you. If it's close in Michigan or Pennsylvania, they're going to cheat like hell. I hope we got measures in place to deal with that. They are definitely going to cheat. How much of a shame is it that we as Americans have to just... We know they're going to cheat. They know they're going to cheat. They don't care that you know that they're going to cheat. Patricia, thank you. Mimi, God bless America. Trump and Barry, thank you for your continued coverage of the truth. Thank you very much. Umi's Case, thank you. Patriot Rob, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Kabbalah. Susan Macaulay, thank you. Umi's Case again, thank you for the double hit there. She was trying to play on their emotions, but did you see how she skedaddled off that stage? Oh, it was awful. It was awful. Like I said, I don't see how any reasonably thinking person with a frontal lobe that is operating could vote for this woman. Angel Melendez, so she's so worried about those kids in the school, but they should have asked her about all the kids that went missing. Ooh, good point. That would have been a great segue. Hey, I understand, Kamala, Miss Harris, you're really worried about the kids in their Sunday dress. Are you worried about the 300,000 kids that people can't find that on your watch have disappeared? Great question. I'm in Alabama, says Talvish. I'm locked and loaded. You better be. Brandon Perry, best thing we can do is pray for each other. Absolutely. Always. Did I skip over some? Yeah, I did. Shining Touch, nice job. Thank you. Susan Parks, thank you. Hey, Severo. T-shirt, you ain't from around here, is you? Maybe I should get that. We're about to open a store. As soon as I get to 300,000, we're going to launch some stuff. Jonathan Manson, can we do anything about Dominion voting machines here in Arizona? Should we write to the state legislature to hold the Secretary of State accountable for a felony? I've been hearing a lot about that company lately, and I understand that Mike Lindell did win some sort of hearing today, which is allowing him to depose that company. So stand by. You may have your answer coming very soon. Mr. Gambit, attempted assassination after each debate. I wonder why. Probably retribution for the killing that he did at the two debates. Lisa Burke, thank you, Barry. Alabama here. Does Trump have, and S.J. Bryan, does Trump have a decent path to victory if he loses Pennsylvania, but somehow picks up New York? Picks up New York? He picks up New York, you're going to see people jumping out of buildings. I mean, seriously, it would be that crazy. All right, guys, I should have a video to post tomorrow. I'm going to have one post earlier. And then at 6:30, we got the rally from New York. I can't say New York City because it's actually in Uniondale, but it's still from New York. Thanks for tuning in. I think it was a great town hall. Thank every single one of you that watched. Thank every single one of you that gave a donation. Love it. Thank you guys very much. More to come. Oh, so by the way, I'm also going to be doing something different. I'd love to hear your comments. You got to leave a comment because we're going to shut the chat down in a second. But I'm thinking about doing some morning or late night 1 or 2 minute hits, maybe some YouTube shorts. And I may do those just in our membership area, and Ashley's going to be taking care of that, where I'm going to do just short 1 or 2 minute videos. I might be in a car, might be in a restaurant, boom, turn it on, see something. Would you guys be interested in those things? Would you be interested in that? Let me know, and I'll get on it. In any event, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I love you guys for that, and I do mean that. Thank you very much.